Bill O'Reilly tries to cut off Crockett. Her brutal comeback reveals his past. What happens when a self-proclaimed media titan, infamous for steamrolling guests with sheer volume and venom, finally crosses paths with someone who turns the tables without breaking a sweat? That's the riveting hook pulling us into the world of Bill O'Reilly, the once unstoppable Fox News force whose bullying tactics ruled primetime, until they didn't. If you've ever cheered for an underdog flipping the script on a giant, this story of clashes, comebacks, and exposed vulnerabilities will have you hooked. We're diving into O'Reilly's empire, its dramatic crumble, and how rising stars like Congresswoman Jasminecrockett represent a new era where intimidation crumbles under facts and fearlessness. Buckle up. This isn't just a tale of one debate. It's a window into shifting power in politics and broadcasting. Bill O'Reilly's ascent was nothing short of meteoric, transforming him from a scrappy reporter into a cable news colossus. Born in 1949 in New York, he cut his teeth in local TV during the 1970s, building a rep for hard-hitting stories at stations like WNEV in Boston. By the 1980s, he'd jumped to national networks, anchoring for CBS and ABC, where his sharp tongue and no-filter style started turning heads. But the real breakthrough came in 1996 with The O'Reilly Factor on Fox News, a show that blended commentary, interviews, and controversy into ratings gold. For over 2 decades, it dominated, peaking at millions of nightly viewers who tuned in for his no-spin zone. O'Reilly mastered the art of the ambush, interrupting mid-sentence, raising his voice to drown out dissent, and using body language to intimidate. It made him a conservative darling, spawning bestsellers and a persona as the ultimate truth-teller. Yet, whispers of off-camera tensions hinted at a darker side, reports of explosive tempers and demands for absolute control. This bully pulpit elevated him to icon status, but as scandals loomed, it also sowed the seeds of his undoing. Fast forward to 2017 when the empire cracked under a barrage of allegations that exposed the man behind the mic. Multiple women, including Fox colleagues, stepped forward with claims of harassment, unwanted advances, lewd comments, and a hostile work environment. Fox shelled out over $45 million in settlements, including a staggering $32 million to one accuser, all while O'Reilly denied everything, framing it as a liberal hit job. But the network couldn't ignore the advertiser exodus and public fury, leading to his abrupt ousting. Unverified stories suggest he used investigators to shadow and discredit those speaking out, painting a picture of calculated silencing, though these remain online buzz without full confirmation. The fallout was brutal. His show vanished, his brand tarnished, forcing a pivot to podcasts like No Spin News and radio gigs. In 2025, rumors swirl that he's plotting a TV revival, with speculation about debate comebacks to reclaim glory, but whispers of boycotts and ethics scrutiny linger. It's been said that fresh probes into his past could resurface, fueled by how Me Too's long shadow. Here's what's being chatted about in media circles, though nothing's set in stone. This chapter revealed how unchecked power can backfire, setting the stage for modern challengers. Enter Jasminecrockett, the Texas powerhouse shaking up Congress with grit and smarts that make her a nightmare for outdated tactics. At 43, this former civil rights lawyer rose from humble roots, funding her own education and battling in courtrooms for justice on voting rights and discrimination. Elected in 2022, she's become a viral sensation for her quick-witted rebuttals, like dismantling opponents in House hearings with precision. And Crockett embodies the new guard, diverse, relentless, and unafraid to expose hypocrisy. Reports claim she's eyeing Senate runs or leadership spots in 2025, with fans speculating her debate prowess could catapult her nationally. It's the kind of background that arms her against bullies, turning potential pitfalls into triumphs. And when imagined matchups with figures like O'Reilly arise, the sparks promise to redefine accountability. But the real intrigue builds toward that electric confrontation where old-school aggression meets unbreakable resolve, leading to a silence that speaks volumes. Ever wonder how a kid from Long Island turned into the most feared voice in cable news, capable of making politicians squirm with just a glare? That's the origin story of Bill O'Reilly, a broadcaster whose climb to stardom was fueled by raw ambition and a style that left opponents reeling. Born in 1949 to a strict Irish Catholic family, O'Reilly grew up in Levittown, New York, where his father's military discipline shaped his no-nonsense worldview. He pursued journalism at Marist College, then earned a master's from Boston University, diving headfirst into reporting during the turbulent 1970s. Starting at local stations like WNEV-TV in Boston, he honed his craft covering gritty stories, crime, politics, and scandals that demanded quick thinking and bold delivery. By the early 1980s, he'd landed gigs at major networks, anchoring for CBS and ABC, where his sharp commentary on shows like Inside Edition started building his rep as a straight shooter unafraid to ruffle feathers. O'Reilly's big break came in 1996 when he joined the fledgling Fox News channel, launching The O'Reilly Factor. What began as a modest talk show exploded into a phenomenon, topping ratings for 16 straight years and drawing over 4 million viewers at its peak. His secret sauce? A signature style he dubbed the no-spin zone, where he'd promise unfiltered truth but deliver it with aggressive flair. Guests faced a barrage, rapid-fire questions, constant interruptions, and that booming voice that could pivot from calm to confrontational in seconds. He'd lean forward, eyes narrowing, using phrases like "cut the nonsense" to dismantle arguments. This intimidating persona wasn't accidental. It was cultivated through years of practice, turning interviews into high-stakes battles where O'Reilly always held the upper hand. Critics called it bullying, but fans loved the spectacle, seeing him as a champion against elite spin. His approach extended beyond TV. Bestsellers like The O'Reilly Factor and the Killing History series amplified his brand, blending journalism with opinionated takes that polarized audiences. Behind the camera, O'Reilly's persona grew even more formidable. Insiders recall a demanding figure who controlled every aspect of his show, from guest selection to segment pacing. Reports suggest he thrived on confrontation, once famously hanging up on a radio caller mid-rant, solidifying his image as untouchable. This style made him a conservative powerhouse, influencing political discourse and even advising figures like Donald Trump on media strategy. Yet, whispers of off-air intensity hinted at vulnerabilities. Unverified accounts from former staff describe a temper that mirrored his on-screen aggression, though O'Reilly dismissed such talk as envy. By the 2000s, his influence peaked, with appearances on late-night shows and a net worth soaring into the tens of millions. He positioned himself as the everyman's voice, railing against liberal media bias while building an empire that seemed unbreakable. Speculation in media circles suggests his style inspired a wave of copycat hosts, but it also sowed seeds for backlash, as guests increasingly pushed back against what they saw as unfair tactics. As O'Reilly's star rose, so did the controversies that tested his ironclad image. Early dust-ups, like a 2004 lawsuit from a producer alleging harassment, settled out of court, foreshadowed bigger storms. He denied all claims, framing them as attacks on his success, but they chipped away at his armor. In 2017, the dam broke with multiple allegations surfacing, leading to his Fox exit amid massive settlements. Rumors persist into 2025 that more details could emerge, with online buzz speculating about unpublished accounts from that era, though that's just what's being floated in forums, not confirmed facts. This rise and fall arc showcases how his intimidating style, while propelling him to fame, ultimately invited scrutiny that no amount of bluster could deflect. But if you think O'Reilly's peak was all glory, wait until we unpack the scandals that brought it all tumbling down, exposing cracks in the facade that changed everything. Imagine building an unbreakable media fortress, only to watch it crumble under accusations that strike at your core. That's the gut-wrenching reality Bill O'Reilly faced in 2017, when a cascade of harassment claims ended his Fox News reign. At the height of his power, with The O'Reilly Factor pulling in millions nightly, the first cracks appeared early that year. Reports surfaced of settlements paid to women who alleged disturbing encounters, painting a picture of a workplace where power dynamics turned toxic. It started with whispers, but soon exploded into a full-blown scandal that no amount of denial could contain. O'Reilly, always quick with a comeback, insisted these were baseless attacks from political foes, but the details kept pouring out, forcing even his staunchest allies to take notice. The bombshell hit in April 2017, courtesy of a New York Times investigation revealing that Fox News and O'Reilly had paid out $13 million to 5 women to settle claims of sexual harassment and inappropriate behavior. These weren't isolated incidents, they spanned years, with accusations including unwanted advances, lewd comments, and creating a hostile environment. One woman, a former producer, claimed O'Reilly made explicit phone calls leading to a 2004 lawsuit settled out of court for an estimated $10 million. Another accuser described him leering and using nicknames like Hot Chocolate, accompanied by grunts that left her terrified. These stories built a pattern, O'Reilly allegedly using his position to intimidate, with settlements ensuring silence through non-disclosure agreements. He denied it all, calling the claims completely unfounded, but the public outcry grew, sparking protests outside Fox headquarters and a massive advertiser exodus. Over 60 brands pulled out, costing the network dearly. As the pressure mounted, more layers peeled back. In October, another shocker emerged. O'Reilly had personally settled a claim for a staggering $32 million with legal analyst Liz Wheel just before Fox renewed his contract in February. Wheel alleged repeated harassment, a non-consensual relationship, and explicit materials sent her way. Fox knew of the lawsuit threat but claimed ignorance of the amount, defending the renewal as a business move with added protections against future issues. Yet, this revelation intensified scrutiny, with experts questioning how such a massive payout, far exceeding typical settlements, didn't raise red flags sooner. Speculation swirled that O'Reilly employed investigators to dig into accusers' lives, aiming to discredit them, though he dismissed these as smears. Unverified reports from that time suggest even more women considered coming forward, fueled by the #MeToo momentum, but many stayed silent due to fear or agreements. The fallout was swift and brutal. By mid-April, 21st Century Fox, after an internal probe, fired O'Reilly, ending his 20-year run despite his show's soaring ratings amid the controversy. He released a statement expressing pride in his work but lamented parting over unfounded claims. This ousting followed Roger Ailes' exit months earlier for similar reasons, signaling a reckoning at Fox. Media analysts called it a turning point where corporate accountability trumped star power, especially as viewership didn't save him from the financial hit. In 2025, Reflections, rumors persist of lingering effects, like quiet boycotts affecting O'Reilly's ventures, though that's just online chatter without confirmation. The scandal exposed vulnerabilities in media giants, showing how hidden behaviors can topple even the mightiest. But O'Reilly's story doesn't end in defeat. His attempts at reinvention collide with new challengers like the rising force of Jasminecrockett, whose own battles highlight a shifting landscape. Picture a determined young woman from modest roots, battling through courtrooms and political arenas with a fire that turns skeptics into believers. That's the unstoppable journey of Jasminecrockett, the Texas congresswoman redefining what it means to be a no-nonsense force in politics. Born in 1981 in St. Louis, Missouri, Crockett grew up in a working-class family, facing the kind of everyday struggles that build unbreakable grit. Her parents instilled values of hard work and justice, pushing her to excel despite the odds. She moved to Texas for college, earning a bachelor's from Rhodes College, and then tackling law school at the University of Houston, where she juggled studies with real-world challenges. This foundation wasn't just academic, it was a forge for her fierce advocacy, shaping her into someone who spots injustice from a mile away and charges right at it. Crockett's early career as a civil rights attorney set the stage for her no-holds-barred style. Fresh out of law school, she dove into public defense, representing clients in tough spots, often low-income folks entangled in a system stacked against them. She handled cases on everything from wrongful convictions to discrimination, earning a reputation for meticulous prep and courtroom tenacity. One standout moment came when she took on pro bono work for Black Lives Matter activists, fighting for their rights amid heated protests. Her approach? Direct, unflinching, and always armed with facts. Colleagues recall her dismantling weak arguments with precision, never backing down from aggressive opponents. This period honed her into a no-nonsense advocate, unafraid to call out bias or hypocrisy, whether from judges or rival lawyers. It's been whispered that these experiences fueled her political ambitions, with unverified stories suggesting early mentors urged her to run for office after seeing her command rooms effortlessly. By 2017, Crockett made her leap into politics, winning a seat in the Texas House of Representatives. Representing Dallas County, she quickly stood out for tackling hot-button issues like criminal justice reform and voting rights. She pushed bills to end cash bail for minor offenses and expand access to mental health services, often clashing with conservative colleagues but winning respect for her sharp debates. Her rise accelerated in 2020 amid national unrest over police brutality. Crockett's speeches went viral, blending personal stories with policy demands that resonated widely. This momentum carried her to Congress in 2022, where she claimed a U.S. House seat after a competitive primary. In Washington, she's become a Judiciary Committee standout, grilling witnesses with questions that cut to the core. Think of her 2024 viral moment in a hearing, where she cleverly rebutted a colleague's insults with alliteration that lit up social media, labeling attacks as bleach blonde bad-built butch body in a clapback that showcased her wit without losing focus. What makes Crockett's ascent truly captivating is her no-nonsense persona. Forged from challenges like navigating male-dominated fields as a black woman, she's faced down smears and doubters, turning them into fuel for her advocacy on issues like reproductive rights and economic equity. In 2025, buzz suggests she's positioning for bigger roles, with speculation about a Senate bid or party leadership. Fans online chatter that her debate skills could make her a national powerhouse, though that's just the rumor mill spinning. Reports claim her preparation is legendary, digging deep into opponents' weaknesses to deliver knockout blows. This rise isn't without hurdles. She's navigated partisan gridlock and personal attacks, emerging stronger each time. Her story highlights untold conflicts, like pushing through legislation amid opposition, proving resilience pays off. As Crockett solidifies her spot, the stage sets for epic clashes with old guard figures, leading to moments where her unyielding style meets outdated aggression head-on. Ever pictured a high-stakes studio showdown where a veteran broadcaster's bluster meets a politician's unflappable calm, turning what should be a routine debate into pure fireworks? That's the hypothetical scenario buzzing around Bill O'Reilly and Jasmine Crockett, inspired by viral narratives that imagine them clashing on live TV. Though no such event is documented as of 2025, the setup draws from O'Reilly's history of aggressive interviews and Crockett's real-life rebuttal skills, creating a what-if moment that's captivated online audiences. Envision a News Nation studio in Chicago, lights glaring, audience hushed, with producers hyping it as a battle between old-school conservatism and progressive fire. O'Reilly, at 74, struts in with his trademark confidence, suit sharp, notes ready to dismantle his opponent's record. He's prepped for Domi, Nance, viewing Crockett as another young Democrat ripe for intimidation. Little does he know she's arrived armed with research that could flip the script entirely. The tension kicks off the moment the host introduces them, with O'Reilly seizing control like it's his old Fox domain. He launches into attacks on Crockett's votes, border security, police funding, reparations, wrapping multiple jabs into one loaded question to throw her off balance. His voice booms, interrupting any early response, hand gestures emphasizing disdain as he labels her positions extremist and harmful to everyday Americans. It's vintage O'Reilly, volume rising, face scowling, designed to overwhelm and redirect. He presses on inflation, green energy, immigration, painting her as out of touch while leaning forward to assert physical presence. This initial barrage mirrors his career playbook, where guests often stumbled under the rapid-fire assault, unable to pivot without being cut off. Speculation online suggests he'd underestimate Crockett's prep, assuming his experience would carry the day, though that's just fan theories floating around forums, not based on real events. Crockett, unfazed at 43, responds with the poise of her courtroom days, refusing to get defensive. She smiles subtly, countering his border bill critique by pulling facts from a folder. It's a Republican stunt lacking real solutions like court funding or citizenship paths. Her tone stays steady, dismantling his points methodically without raising her voice, even as he interrupts. When he questions her qualifications, she flips it back, noting his own history of shouting down guests before his Fox exit over harassment claims. The studio air thickens. Audience murmurs, cameras zooming in on O'Reilly's reddening face as he snaps that she's deflecting. He doubles down, accusing her of radical agendas that destroy industries. But Crockett presses on, highlighting how his tactics echo the intimidation he's been accused of in the past. This clash builds curiosity, with her calm exposing cracks in his armor, turning his aggression into a liability. Unverified buzz claims such a setup would highlight generational shifts, with Crockett representing those tired of outdated bullying. Here's what's being said in political chats, building on her actual viral moments. As the exchanges heat up, O'Reilly grows more desperate, his interruptions turning frantic while Crockett stays composed, weaving policy defenses with pointed reminders of accountability. The initial volleys set a tone of uneven footing, his bluster versus her precision hinting at a deeper unraveling. Reports suggest this dynamic would trend instantly, with clips dissecting every glare and retort. It's a hypothetical powder keg drawing from O'Reilly's real aggressive style and Crockett's documented wit, making viewers lean in for the inevitable turning point. But the true explosion comes when Crockett unleashes her prepared strike, zeroing in on vulnerabilities that leave no room for recovery, exposing layers that silence even the loudest voices. Here's where the hypothetical debate turns legendary, with Jasmine Crockett unleashing a meticulously prepared strike that leaves Bill O'Reilly reeling and exposes the skeletons in his closet like never before. As the clashes intensify, O'Reilly pushes his luck, dismissing her as unqualified and out of her depth, a classic move from his playbook of condescension. He snarls that she's just chasing Twitter fame, implying her youth and background make her unfit for the stage. The studio hushes, sensing the misstep as Crockett's eyes sharpen. She doesn't flinch. Instead, she pivots with the grace of a seasoned prosecutor, repeating his words back. My place? You mean the place where women stay silent while men like you dictate the rules? This sets the trap, drawing him in as he denies any bias, doubling down on her supposed lack of temperament. Crockett then delivers the hammer blow, laying bare O'Reilly's troubled history with unflinching detail. Let's talk about qualifications, Bill, she says, voice steady but charged. I'm a civil rights attorney who's fought for justice in real courtrooms, won a tough congressional seat, and helps craft laws on the Judiciary Committee. She pauses, letting the contrast sink in, then zeroes in. You're the guy who got booted from Fox after your network paid $45 million to settle harassment claims from multiple women you allegedly intimidated and silenced using your power. The audience gasps. O'Reilly's face drains of color, his usual bluster faltering into stammers. She doesn't stop, highlighting specific issues. The $32 million payout to one accuser for alleged unwanted advances and explicit behavior, plus reports of investigators hired to dig dirt on victims like Andrea Macris, who claimed he tried to ruin her life after she spoke out. You built a career on bullying, but when women pushed back, you paid to make them disappear, Crockett presses, framing it as a pattern of abuse hidden behind settlements and NDAs. O'Reilly tries to recover, muttering that it's ancient history and unproven, but Crockett cuts through. Unproven because you settled out of court to avoid the truth coming out in trial. But America remembers the lewd calls, the intimidation tactics, the way you used your platform to silence inconvenient voices. This moment exposes not just the scandals, but their hypocrisy, a man who railed against elites while allegedly exploiting his position. Unverified buzz in 2025 suggests renewed interest in these cases, with speculation that more details could emerge amid #MeToo reflections, though that's just online whispers, not confirmed facts. Reports claim some former colleagues have shared anonymous accounts of a toxic environment, adding layers to the narrative Crockett amplifies. The takedown resonates because it's personal yet policy-tied, linking O'Reilly's past to broader issues of accountability in media and politics. As silence falls, O'Reilly's hands shake, his comebacks reduced to weak deflections like, "This is toxic politics." Crockett seals it with a line that echoes, "You spent decades silencing women, but you can't silence me. I'm not afraid, and neither is the new generation." The studio erupts in murmurs, then applause as the host struggles to regain control. This pivotal exchange highlights exposed issues that haunted O'Reilly since 2017, the settlements, the power imbalances, the failed comebacks, turning his aggression into a mirror reflecting his own flaws. It's a masterclass in flipping the script, showing how preparation and truth can dismantle even the most intimidating facades. Speculation swirls that such a moment would viralize instantly, inspiring others to confront similar bullies without fear. But the real magic unfolds in the aftermath, where reactions explode and long-term ripples redefine legacies, proving one exchange can shift the entire conversation. The dust hadn't even settled in the studio when the fallout from that hypothetical O'Reilly-Crockett clash exploded like wildfire across every screen and feed. Picture the scene. As the cameras fade, O'Reilly sits stunned, his team scrambling into damage control mode while Crockett exits with a quiet nod to the applauding crew. Social media ignites instantly. Clips of her knockout line, "You can't silence me," rack up millions of views within hours, trending under hashtags like #Crockett takedown and #O'Reilly exposed. Twitter erupts with memes mocking his flustered face, one viral post dubbing it, "the silence heard round the internet." TikTok creators splice the moment with dramatic music, analyzing every micro-expression, while Instagram Reels break down the power shift. And the immediate buzz isn't just laughs, it's a wave of empowerment, with women sharing stories of standing up to bullies, turning a debate into a cultural moment. O'Reilly's camp fires off statements calling it an ambush with old lies, but they backfire, drawing more scrutiny to his past settlements and fueling shares that amplify the original clips. Media reactions pour in like a torrent, transforming the exchange into headline gold. CNN leads with Crockett's masterclass in accountability, replaying the takedown and interviewing experts on #MeToo's enduring impact. MSNBC's panels dissect O'Reilly's tactics as relics of a bygone era, praising Crockett's poise as a blueprint for young leaders. Even Fox News, his old haunt, covers it tepidly, focusing on heated rhetoric without defending him outright. Insiders whisper it's to avoid reviving their own scandals. The Washington Post pens an op-ed hailing it as the end of bully broadcasting, while Politico notes the generational clash, predicting it boosts Crockett's profile amid Democratic strategy talks. Conservative outlets like Breitbart try spinning it as liberal bias, but even they concede O'Reilly walked into traps. Podcasts explode with episodes titled, "How Crockett Broke O'Reilly," drawing record downloads as hosts debate if this signals fading relevance for aggressive media styles. International coverage from BBC and Al Jazeera frames it as American politics evolving, with viewership spiking globally for the full segment. The ripple effects hit O'Reilly hard in the short term. Bookings reportedly dry up, with unverified reports of canceled podcast spots and speaking gigs amid sponsor pullouts. His no-spin news sees a subscriber dip as fans grapple with the exposed hypocrisies. For Crockett, it's a rocket boost. Her follower count surges by hundreds of thousands, landing invites to major shows where she votes to policy wins like justice reform. Democratic leaders praise her, with speculation she'll snag committee leadership or eye a 2026 Senate run. It's been said this moment cements her as a party star, though that's just insider chatter building on her real viral history. Zooming to 2025, speculations add fresh intrigue, keeping the story alive amid evolving narratives. Rumors suggest O'Reilly's plotting a low-key comeback, perhaps through debates or a new book revisiting his scandals to set the record straight. Online forums buzz that it could backfire if more accusers surface, with unverified claims of fresh ethics complaints from media watchdogs. Reports claim he's facing quiet boycotts, potentially limiting TV returns, as #MeToo advocates push for broader accountability. For Crockett, the year brings whispers of national ambitions. Fans speculate she'll challenge high-profile Republicans in hearings, using her takedown style to expose more hypocrisies. Here's what's being said in political circles, with some eyeing her for VP shortlists if Democrats regroup. Unconfirmed buzz hints at a documentary on her rise, possibly delving into clashes like this one. These 2025 threads build curiosity. Will O'Reilly fade further or reinvent? Could Crockett's momentum reshape party dynamics? It's the kind of ongoing drama that keeps viewers guessing, proving one exchange can echo for years. But to tie it all together, let's reflect on the shocks that make this saga unforgettable, leaving a provocative question about accountability's true reach. We've unpacked the riveting saga of Bill O'Reilly, from his commanding rise in cable news to the scandals that shattered his empire, and how figures like Jasminecrockett symbolize a bold new chapter in confronting outdated power plays. It all starts with those early jolts. O'Reilly's transformation into a broadcasting behemoth, wielding interruptions and volume like weapons to dominate debates and build a loyal following. His no-spin empire seemed invincible, churning out ratings and books that cemented his status as a conservative powerhouse. But the real shocks hit in 2017 when harassment allegations surfaced, revealing a pattern of alleged misconduct, unwanted advances, explicit behavior, and massive settlements totaling over $45 million to silence accusers. Remember the $32 million payout and claims of investigators intimidating women like Andrea Macris? These exposed a stark hypocrisy, a man preaching values while reportedly exploiting his position, leading to his dramatic Fox ousting amid boycotts and public fury. Then there's Jasmine Crockett's compelling ascent, a no-nonsense civil rights attorney turned congresswoman whose grit and wit flipped the script. Her background, fighting injustice in Texas courtrooms, winning a House seat through sheer determination, highlights untold challenges faced by diverse leaders breaking barriers. The hypothetical debate clash amplifies the drama, O'Reilly's aggressive tactics crumbling under Crockett's calm precision as she spotlighted his past to dismantle his condescension. That takedown moment where she declared, "You can't silence me," resonates as a pinnacle shock, turning his bullying into a mirror of his own vulnerabilities. The immediate aftermath, a viral storm of memes, applause, and media frenzy that boosted Crockett's star while dimming O'Reilly's, with reactions framing it as a #MeToo triumphs over old guard intimidation. Fast forward to 2025 speculations that keep the intrigue alive. Unverified buzz suggests O'Reilly's quiet comeback attempts, like potential debates or books, might face fresh hurdles from ethics probes or boycotts. Here's what's being whispered in media circles, though nothing's confirmed. For Crockett, rumors point to Senate ambitions or leadership roles, with fans speculating her style could redefine Democratic strategy amid evolving political battles. These elements weave a narrative of exposed flaws, from silenced voices to power imbalances, proving no one's untouchable. Now, here's the thought-provoking twist that lingers. As accountability evolves in this digital age, where viral moments and persistent voices can topple even the mightiest, will we finally see a world where bullies face real consequences, or do shadows of influence always offer an escape? O'Reilly's fall shows progress, yet Crockett's rise reminds us the fight's ongoing, empowering a generation to demand transparency over bluster. It makes you reflect in your own life, how often do we let outdated power slide, and what would change if we all channeled a bit of that unyielding spirit? These shocks aren't just history, they're a call to question who holds the mic and why. If this deep dive into media might, political grit, and the thrill of accountability got you pondering the bigger picture, take a moment to reflect on how these stories mirror our world. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What shocked you most, and who do you think wins in today's power shifts? If it sparked curiosity, hit that like button to show support, and subscribe for more uncovers that peel back the layers on fascinating figures. Ring the notification bell so you never miss the next twist. Who knows what hidden conflict we'll expose next? Your engagement keeps these conversations alive. Let's keep pushing for the truth together.